I'm going to open up questions much sooner. I don't want to go through everything. You guys get the information that you need, and I'll go in depth in anything you want. As you know, as you ask me questions, it kind of opens me up to other things. So instead of me rambling, I can kind of give you a quick synopsis, and then you guys take it over and get what you need, and then get access to those guys that you need downstairs. The big thing is this. It's kind of like this picture that we just take. Never assume anything right now. Okay? We've got a whole new coaching staff, meaning we've got 5 new guys. We go out to practice. You think you got everything written in detail to the letter. We practice the minutes, where to be, when to be there, for 24/7 for basically a month. And then you're ready to go to practice, and the first question you get asked is, where's the practice field? So you can't assume anything. That there's some guys that don't know the basics, that where to be, when to be there, and then ultimately the big thing is how do we do things here at UNI? Because I think you have to be very unique here to be successful at UNI, because this is unique and a great place. But you have to understand the University of Notre Dame. So in that regard, that's what we're trying to teach, not only the new players, but to our new staff members. And it's gone very well to this point. We are in currently, we just had our 10th practice, we're going into our 11th practice. So usually this press conference is much earlier, but I believe we had to see what we had before I started talking about it. So I've got a little bit better idea what we have now, and going from there. So with that, I'll expand on any questions you got, and we'll go from there. So I'll open it up to you guys.
Coach, could you talk about your linebackers and specifically how's Barkley fit into that?
Okay, linebacker-wise, Barkley. I'll go right to Barkley first. Barkley from Cedar Falls High School, we moved him from running back to linebacker. Because of the depth we had at running back, and because of the need that we had at linebacker, I felt that it was a better chance and a better opportunity for him to move into that linebacker position. We did that in the spring. He was very successful in the spring, and that's when you experiment with him, so we left him there for this fall. The only thing is, he's had some knee problems. That's been aggravated. It got aggravated in spring, and it can get aggravated if you go 2 days will aggravate it because of so much use. So we have to balance that with his progression, first time playing linebacker, and progressing through the knee so that we can get him healthy to the season. He's doing very well, and he's the second team linebacker right now, and mainly it's because of knowledge and experience is why he's there. Other linebackers working within that group right now, I think that's a position that needs a lot of critique and a lot of competition, because I don't know who the starters will be. I think Brett McMakin is by far the guy that kind of leads the role as far as talent on the football field. He's got experience, he's very talented, and he's going into his 3rd season. He's got everything we need. He's got the height, he's got the speed, he's got the toughness that you need at linebacker. So Brett McMakin is one of those guys that we'll have to count on at that position. Jared Farley, I like what he's doing right now. He's got the mic and the will. He could play either position for us based off who the other linebacker is. And then we've got Blake Wilson, Duncan Furch, young man from Dallas Center. Duncan was the running back when we recruited. We now have him at linebacker. He actually is doing a great job at linebacker as well, and it's the first time he's played for us. So between Blake Wilson, Duncan Furch, and D'Angelo Jennings. D'Angelo Jennings is a junior college guy that is now going into his senior year. You haven't heard a lot about him, but he's at the stage now. He understands how we do things and what to do. And D'Angelo could be the mic backer for us, Jared the will, or Blake Wilson the will, Jared the mic, wherever Hill ends up being. Barkley, how it all fits, we'll start moving it around to get the best 3 or 4 in the field that we can, and that's kind of the makeup of that linebacker group.
Coach, you mentioned that you were happy with the depth at running back. That's why you moved Barkley to linebacker. Let's go to running backs. With the end of the David Johnson era, is it more sharing the load, or do you feel you have a guy that could carry the load like David did?
Well, you're not going to replace David. I mean, we all know he was a great running back and he was a great teammate. He did so many things for us in special teams as well as in the locker room and as a running back, but we all know him as a running back. So to be direct to your question, we have right now, I believe, 3 candidates that can take that weight and carry it as a group. I'll start with Titus Smith. Titus out of Davenport he was actually mentored by David. Titus is a great story. I mean, if you want to look into what background and and how he got here and what he's done since he's been here is a great story because he took the path of David, he was mentored by David, and he took the course of David after he saw the success. So to David's credit, he was a great teacher too. And in that regard, that's where he was really bringing Titus along, character-wise, social-wise, athletic-wise, and I think to Titus's credit, he followed that lead. So Titus knows who to follow, and that's what you got to do to be a great player too. So Titus Smith is one of them, and he's got great size. You'll see that when you get on the field. Two others that we felt that we had to secure to make sure we had experience as well as talent at that running back, Savon Huggins. Came out of Rutgers. He was here in the spring, of course, and Savon was an exceptional back in high school, exceptional for Rutgers, and he has been a great leader, and he's got great cuts. I mean, you can see he makes a decision, he goes, he's got a vertical push to him, so he's a very good runner for us. And then Darian Miller. Darian Miller, of course, he's going into his senior season, and he's quick. He's got that great quickness, he's got that speed. So how we use those three, I think those three are definitely three guys that I would say are in the top 11. You know, and I always look for who your top 11 offensive players are. Now, how do I get them all in the field with one football? So there's a lot of those things going on when we establish who the players are, but I'd go with that. And then behind that, you got Javion Huggins, Javion Browning. Javion he's come to his point in his career, redshirt sophomore, that he's ready to play. He was a great running back. It's now how he fits in that mix as well. So I don't want to leave him out. But those three, I think, have established themselves as the front runners for that position.
Well, Coach, you talked about the changes with coaches. Obviously, Bill's back on offense, but you know, there's 30 years of coaches on the offensive side of the football. Will that change your philosophy or how you go about business?
Yeah, I don't know if it changed philosophy. I know you better wake up in the morning and have your motor running because, you know, it's fun to see guys, anytime you're somewhere new for the first time, there's a lot of energy within that. And being that they're here, they have a lot more energy because they know what this place is known for and what we are. So they're excited just because I think they know a little bit about the past. Because this is their first media day, they don't know what's going on. And it's just as well as practice 11, they don't know what's going on. But they're excited because they know what this place needs to be and what it expects to be. And they came in here to take us to that level and to take us to another level. So yeah, have I changed philosophy? No. Have I changed some plays? Yes. And have we changed some ways we're doing things? Yes. But I also will say this. If we're going to be good and sustain being great, and I just want to sustain being great every day, whatever that is, then I think you have to have a common foundation. And I think that's what we can carry through. I think Bill brings that. He knows what this place is about because he's lived it. He's gone to school here. He understands it. And if we can establish that in our new coaches, it'll take them time to figure that all out and then them being the mentors to our players. But what I love about our new coaches is the men that they are and the leadership and the mentorship is probably a better word for that, the mentorship they give our players. Because we're not only about football, you know, we're trying to be these guys as mentors while they're here about how to be good and great and how to prepare in everything they do, not just in football. And that's when I looked at these guys. What I look for, I'll tell you what I look for when I'm going through all this hiring process, you learn a lot. And we've hired a few. I think the number one thing that I look for is the person I trust, the person that I can get to trust. And they have to be a great teacher. So when I get them on the board, I want to make sure they can get in a room and the players will respond to the teaching. And if I sit in the room and I interview them, I say, man, if I was sitting in the room and I'm a linebacker, will he inspire me to keep me alert in this meeting, and can he teach me how to get to where I belong, and can he motivate me? If I can get that in basically 30 minutes, I think I got a sense of that. Then I need to see them on the field. I need to see how they react and respond to our players on the field. Can you be a grass coach? Can you get out there and show them how to do it as much as tell them how to do it? Because I view myself, as I go back to when I was a player, what did I need to learn? And I think every individual needs to be taught a little bit differently and be able to connect with a coach. And I really believe we hit a home run with these coaches because it took a long time. I didn't hire the last one until I think he got here on Sunday and we went to practice on Wednesday, something like that. No, he got here on Monday and we went to practice on Wednesday. So it turned that fast because You know, I hate to settle for anything, not at UNI. We want to be the best, or we'll wait to get the right person here. And I think we've waited, and through that patience, I think we've got a great coaching staff, because what I've seen in the first 10 practices is exactly what I hope I've seen, is great teachers that are mentoring and as well as motivating.
How comfortable are you with the no huddle, especially being a former linebacker yourself?
Well, we've been, you know, the no huddle thing, I get a little bit of kick out of it because we've been no huddle. We've been practicing no huddle for 5 years. Now, have we done it in a game? Yes and no. But when we did it, it was no big deal. It's been around. We've been playing against them since we played New Hampshire in 2005. The first time we ever played the no huddle was when Chip Kelly was the New Hampshire offensive coordinator, and that's the first time I was introduced to the no huddle offense. And then since then, the Texas State, we played Texas State. Well, that's Herman, who's down in, he was the offensive coordinator, now the Houston coach. So we were introduced in an abrupt way back in 2005. Now, through all the years, we've developed our defense as much as that, and now I think we've played enough against it that we can put our ideas defensively to tell our offense what really hurts a defense in a no huddle. And it's not just coming to the ball and playing games. It's how to use your formations and the field, what really hurts the defense. So I think the combination of what we know and then what Joe brought to the table, I hope we can make it really strong with what we come out as the UNI version.
Mark,
what do you
based on
see
the
out of quarterbacks, Coach? And is anybody emerging as kind of the guy to lead this new offense under Joe Davis?
There's the quarterback, if you go to stretch this afternoon, it's the longest line. I mean, we got more red jersey. I think I can make a whole kickoff team out of them. They're all over the place. But I know this, being here as well, is you got to have a quarterback. And I'll never go into the season without enough quarterbacks, because it's like tailbacks. You can't have enough of them, I don't think, because of injuries, because of the game, and because they touch the ball every down. So to answer your question directly, I'd say that there are 4 primary guys in the hunt. The 4 primary guys in the hunt right now, Sawyer Cole-Morgan is, of course, the one with the experience and the one that's been here with us, that's done a great job. And these are in no order. You got Sawyer Cole-Morgan, you have Eli Dunn. Eli Dunn was the freshman quarterback we took out of Grinnell. Eli is having an exceptional two-a-day camp. He had a great spring, second half. Early on he was okay, but the second half he was exceptional, and we all remember his spring game. He left off, he came back to where he left off. He's very confident, he's got a great arm, he's got great size. Eli is sitting there. Then you have Dalton Demos. Dalton was here in the spring, and Dalton is a junior college player from Hutch, but Dalton has great size and can really throw. I say, watch the spin of his ball. When the ball comes out of his hand, man, it's got rotation to it. He's got a great arm, and he's got great athleticism. He came off that ACL last year, did a great job all summer, so he has the athletic ability that maybe others don't have, that burst of speed, and he can really spin it, and then he's got the size as well. So he's got the total package going for him. And then the last one is Aaron Bailey. And Aaron Bailey came here and got here. He was here all summer. And Aaron Bailey, you'll see, has real good thickness to him, real good size to him. He's got real good speed to him, and he can throw the football. So, you know, I think there's enough to pick from. They're all different, and you know what they are? They're all smart too. And it's neat to see how they're competing, because they're working. All been equal in reps to date. We're just rolling 4. I don't care what team they run with, first team, second team, third team. Doesn't matter to me. I just want to see how they operate. With the intent being, do you still look good with the third team as you do with the first team? Because my belief of quarterback is you need to make the other 10 guys better. You can have great talent, but unless those guys trust you, unless they believe in you, and unless you match their talent, then I don't think you can be a great quarterback on game day. So I'm looking for who can make the other 10 better, as I'm watching them on the field, how they operate with the third team as much as how they operate with the first team. And the bonus of that has been for us is I think it's made our third team guys better, because we're going to need them too, because they have progressed like a first teamer would, just because of the environment they're surrounded by. So I shouldn't have been doing that for a long time, because it's brought the other 10 along. So I'm very pleased with that progress, but we're going to have to make a decision and cut somebody's reps and start moving somebody forward here. It's time to move. So today, there's 4. Look at our depth chart, there's 4 across the line. But there's gonna come a time real quick that we gotta start making a depth chart so one guy gets more reps with the ones and the twos because we gotta get ready for the football game.
Mark, based on the preseason rankings, is this one of the toughest schedules you've ever faced?
It's not easy, but, you know, nothing much is, you know, anymore. So, instead of looking at it in that regard, because, yeah, when you're early in the summer, you look at that schedule, it's a grind. But exactly what I told our football team here, it's this. You know what? They are so lucky. They're probably the most fortunate football team at UNI for this reason. They get to take on this schedule. Number 1, number 2, number 6, Big 12, and 3 of those 4 on the road. And if you make it through and win this league, then you have done something no other team on those walls have ever done. You won it with the toughest pass ever to win it. You had to win it with a new staff, you had to win it on the road, and you had to win it with West Prep. You have more opportunities than any team on those walls have ever had. And you can separate yourself from all those teams if you can pull those things together, and if you can do the things you need to do to win games. Then you'll have something that no other team has ever had, and that's doing it with the newness of it all as much as the schedule and the opportunity being tough. I think it's a great opportunity, and that's the way I want those guys to view it. That's the way we're attacking this thing.
How appreciative are you, in line with what Delaney said about Big Ten and wanting to move away from it? How appreciative of you getting to play in Iowa State? Do you see those games becoming less, occurring less maybe? Is that a movement, or is that just a Big Ten thing?
What I would say to that question is this. I think I said the first press conference I ever did in 2001 as much as this one umpteen years later. We, and I know I personally, but we appreciate UNI, Iowa State, and Iowa playing Northern Iowa in football. I guarantee you, okay? I respect the heck out of those 2 programs, okay? And I think the fan base of those 2, you know, when you're not going to those 2 games, when those games are over, you're either one or the other, but all Iowa and Iowa State fans can beat Northern Iowa fans. So I'm very appreciative that those athletic directors and football coaches in particular will play us, because they don't have to. I get it. So they play us for a lot of right reasons. So doing so, finalize that, I think the FCS, BCS playing 1 double A's, there is a need, there's no question we need it. But I think also to balance football, it needs to be done as a whole for college football. And I say that for this reason. We're all about the opportunities of student athletes, not the opportunity for TV. And the opportunity for the student athlete is to be able to compete in every situation and give that person, it's an opportunity for us to play at Kinnick Stadium, to play at Iowa Stadium. And it's an opportunity for those players to experience that, and yet it's an opportunity for them to progress into a season, because we're always worried about safety of players, to progress into a season instead of being thrown into a season. You look at basketball, December is really irrelevant because nothing happens until January, because those first 4 games, warm-up games for the most part. So football doesn't have that opportunity. We have to come out of the gate fast and hard, but yet we're worried about the safety of the players. So I think there's an element there that you have to be stressed instead of just worrying about how much money is on the table if we're really looking at the safety of our players. So in all regards, we can all say what's good for us and spin words on it. I would hope that everybody would continue to want to play Northern Iowa. And the coolest thing, I think at Jack's Trice Stadium, that if you look in their book, that the UNI Iowa State football game is the #1 and the #2 and the #3 right now. And if they just built a new stadium, I'm guessing by the end of the game will be the #4. So that game will be the #1, #2, and #3 all-time largest crowd at Jack's Trice Stadium, which I think is pretty cool, not only for Iowa State and Northern Iowa, but for the state of Iowa and what they want to see at football games. So it's other people's choices, but that's my stand.
Because one of the reasons why you've been able to compete at Kinnick and also Jack Trice is because we measured up on the line, offensive and defensive lines. How do you stack up this year going to Jack Trice?
We're going to find out. You know, I'm dead serious about this one. Man, you're going to see what I see. You don't think I don't know what's going on this afternoon. Okay, I know it's scheduled. But how it unfolds, I'm not sure. And that's what we have to manage as we go through it. That's been the fun part for me, because this is different for me, because you see much more, because I'm looking for much more. So when we hit that field for the first time, the offense has 4 new coaches on it and Coach Solomon. So, we're going to have to guide those guys through it to what is going to experience it, because we want to put our best foot forward, and we don't want to do something that will hinder our chances of winning by something we control. And thus, I got to make sure we go through game day atmosphere, communication, all those types of things, because we don't want to find out on the run, I'm doing it. So that's where we have to do a better job. So really, seriously, as this thing unfolds, there's going to be something that comes up that we didn't expect. Now, how do we adjust as a new group? Never been through it before. We can plan for it, but we'll never know until it actually happens to see how we execute it. That's the key. So, yeah, can we? You know what I always say, we can go anywhere, anytime, and we'll compete at Northern Iowa. But I also, as a head coach, are saying, man, we're going to have to really execute to be able to do that. And the execution will be the key in how we respond to those things that are new to us is what we need to practice, and then how we adapt will determine if we win.